Whenever you design any system, you have to get it certified that it does not cause any undue disturbances. Otherwise, this will not be acceptable by this C certification is required. C certified. So there are a lot of certification. One of the certification is excessive EMI and EMC. This it should not come. So that is the key to design boards which are hybrid. That means you have got analog and digital together. Then your high frequency and low frequency. So then high power or higher voltage, varying voltage levels. So when you design this board, they should not have any intra-system interference and inter-system. Intra means between the same system, different parts of the system. This is intra-system. This is the board, so this is intra-system interference, and there is inter. That means it should not, if there is one system here, it should not affect another system, system 1 and system 2. So this has to be taken care. So this is known as EMI, EM and EMC. So this is called inter-system noise, which can be taken care by filtering, shielding, and careful selection of components, good wiring and grounding. Then intra-system, that means subtler techniques like frequency management and time management. That means if there is a high frequency clock somewhere, you want to use, you can distribute the clock in such a way that when the clock for one subsystem is working, then the clock for another subsystem should not work. So this by frequency, and you can have different frequencies of the clock, so they don't interfere with each other. So these are called frequency management and time management. So there is an excellent book. I will show you that book, the Marshall Decker book, EMI EMC. Is here, I forgot somewhere. So remember, we are very poor Indians, especially we don't have this very good practice of designing very high frequency circuits. So if you go to Japan, they are pioneering designing high frequency and mixed frequency circuits. So therefore, when you do a board design, you have to be very careful. So this is especially true when there is a so this is what you can see. Whenever there are different, there are two, this is one system and this is another system. So whenever there is a high frequency source here, so if it is connected by wire, then it will naturally communicate here. If it is not connected by wire, then it will be radiating. So there are two ways, conducted EMI and radiated EMI. This is conducted electromagnetic interference and radiated electromagnetic interference. So now let's discuss what is the basis of this electromagnetic interference. So the basis is Maxwell's laws. Okay. Are you there? You can switch on the video if you are live. You can interact. Anybody who knows Maxwell's equations? Arif Javed, tell me the equation. A high frequency magnetic field causes electric field. What is that law? A magnetic field of high frequency causes an electric field of high frequency. B is the magnetic field, E is the electric field. What is that law? Arif Javed. क्या सो गया? आरिफ जावेद है कि नहीं?
सर हूँ सर.
क्या हुआ? सर. Tell me the law which tells you if there is a high frequency magnetic field B, which will create an electric field E. Tell me the law. Not Maxwell's law, any law you know. Let's say BT has three components, BX, AX cap plus BY, AY cap plus BZ, AZ cap. They are function of time. So if it is changing very fast, it is going to create electric field or not? Vijay Mitra, बताओ. अभिजय बताओ, अपना वीडियो ऑन करके बताओ.
Hello,
Yes, please tell.
sir. Are you calling me?
Yes, Abhijay. I am telling Abhijay. Tell me. You raise your
Sir,
hand.
Faraday law. Faraday law.
This is Faraday's law. Aman
Yes, sir.
Sharma also Faraday's law. So this has a Faraday's law tells you d phi by dt is equal to voltage. Okay. Right or wrong? What is Faraday's law? Faraday's law tells you that d phi. Let me introduce one more slide. Otherwise.
Curl of E is equal to minus dV by dt.
So it is tells you the n d phi by dt voltage. So voltage you can relate as E dot dl around a closed path. You can say that is the total potential there. And similarly, phi is equal to V dot ds. So you can say that n d by dt of V dot ds is equal to E dot dl. This is mathematics basically. So this can be related. This EB can be related by something called a Stokes theorem. So this tells you it is a surface integral, this is a lines integral. So what is that theorem which relates surface integral and line integral? Vector calculus. Aman Sharma याद है? अमन शर्मा, हाँ जोर से बोलो.
Stokes equation.
Stokes equation, Stokes law actually, Stokes theorem you can say. So you can relate. So that's how you can relate Bt and Et. Similarly,
Sir,
can you?
curl of E equals to minus.
Bas, yes. Thank you very much. So now let's relate. So this is magnetic field relating to the electric field. Then what about electric field relating to magnetic field? That means a change in electric field. Can it generate magnetic field? Or E and H, at least B, not B. Change in electric field, can it generate H? Answer is yes. If there is change in electric field, even if there is no conductor, there will be displacement current or not? उत्कर्ष अग्रवाल, अरे तुम लोग क्या कोई नहीं है क्लास में, इतना कम लोग है. बहुत सारा लोग ज्वाइन किया, पूरा सारे क्लास ज्वाइन किया है. उत्कर्ष बोलो. अरे क्या तुम्हारा साउंड हो रहा है, छोड़ो. यास हरकावत यास, तुम म्यूट करो, यास हरकावत. If there is a change in electric field, whether there will be magnetic field, Yash Harkawat. अरे यास हरकावत नहीं है क्या? लॉगिन किया है. Are you there, यास हरकावत? यास हरकावत, are you there? Yes, you are there. No, you are not there. Yaas Harkawat, you are there? Okay, tell me. You are not audible. Change in electric field, can it give rise to magnetic field? That is the question. Vikram. Are Vikram?
Yes, sir.
Change in electric field, can it give magnetic field? Can it resonate magnetic field?
Yes, sir.
How?
Like as we see in the capacitors, the displacement current that generates magnetic field.
Yes. So that means change in electric field also in even if in free space, it can give rise to magnetic field, displacement current and magnetic field. So this, so how, what is that law? That law tells you that dV by dt is equal to C dV by dt, right? Is equal to the current. Right, so current can be related to H, current can be written as H dot dl integration. That means current is H dot dl integration. I'm just doing some rough work, don't have to worry about it. Which is equal to dV by dt. That means E dot dl, H dot dl integration. So dV by dt you can write it is E dou E by dt dot dl, something like this. Okay, because V is equal to E dl, right? So you can say that they are also related. So that leads to what is known as Maxwell's laws. So you write down this, what is there in the next, you can see. These are called Maxwell's equation. One equation is, what is this equivalent law you have learned? This is divergence of electric field is equal to total charge enclosed by epsilon 0. What is this law?
Sir, Gauss law. Gauss law.
Gauss law. This is the differential form of the Gauss law. This is a differential form. It can be derived from the Green's theorem. What is Green's theorem? That means you know the total charge enclosed V rho V dV integration in a volume, okay, is equal to the total electric field coming out, D dot ds. So this can be rho V can be related to D, or you can say epsilon into E. This can be written as epsilon into E. So epsilon E, so this is Green's theorem. You can relate, so this is how it is. This is rho V. So divergence of D, so this is called Green's theorem. So this is the Maxwell's law. You can write down on this for your understanding. So then this is the, what is this law? Del dot V, divergence of V is equal to 0. What is this law? No, south pole or north pole cannot be separated. They are same. Okay, you cannot separate south pole and north pole. Always magnetic field occurs in current loops, and that means divergence of V is equal to 0. In any closed thing, whatever flux enters, that much leaves. So that is called divergence is 0. Okay. Then this is your law which you just told. That is del cross E is equal to minus dou V by dou T. That is the law, when the law of Faraday's law. That is curl of E. That means the integral of E around a small place, the rotation is equal to the rate of change of flux. Negative because it will opposite. So del cross E is equal to minus. So this is Faraday's law. Then this is your law of conduction. This is displacement current and this is your conduction current. Del cross B is equal to, there will be a sigma here. So J is equal to written as sigma into E. Sigma is the conductivity. So mu 0 into sigma into E plus mu 0 epsilon dou E by dou T. So this is the conduction law. So from these two, whenever there is a changing electric field or magnetic field, it gives rise to a lot of effects. So change in magnetic field gives electric field, change in electric field generates magnetic field. So the whole thing travels. So this traveling law, this is traveling wave. So one function which is traveling is a function of time and space. So you can derive by differentiating, double differentiating this. You can get dou V by dt, you can relate to them. So in a free space, whenever the conductivity is 0, that means this part is 0. So this is the Maxwell's law for the wave equations. This is in free space, and in the conductor, this is the wave equation. Please write down. These are the laws which you will not learn ordinarily. In physics you could have learned, but anyway, so is there any questions here? Putra Sarwal, डैम्पिंग
Yes,
किसमें है? कौन सा वेव इक्वेशन में डैम्पिंग है?
in the del to in both.
Both damping is there.
Yes, sir.
हाँ है डैम्पिंग हुआ. फ्री स्पेस में डैम्पिंग तो नहीं है, दिख नहीं रहा. So this is how many variables? This differential equation is how many variables? Independent variables are there. There is this XYZ coordinate and time.
XYZ, yes.
Either XYZ or rho, Z, phi or R theta phi. This is spherical, this is cylindrical, this is Cartesian. So either of them, the four variables, it's a differential equation of four variables. So whenever there is a, so this doesn't have a damping, this has a damping because of the first order term here. Whenever there is a disturbance here in free space without conductivity, it will propagate. But the moment there is conduction, then it will short circuit. That means there will be damping and it will not. Therefore, the electromagnetic waves cannot penetrate metals because it's conductor, so it will short circuit. So whenever the electromagnetic wave is going directly, so it will hit a conductor, it will short it out, and there will be no propagation further. So conductors are used for shielding. All right. Can you see it? Why there will be no, there will be damping in conductors. If you have a circuit, in that circuit, if you short circuit, will there be any current flowing beyond? After short circuit, power transformation stops there. The same thing happens when the electromagnetic wave goes like this. The electric field is oscillating like this. It hits a conductor, it gets short circuited there, and it will reflect back. It may be a secondary source. It will reflect back. So therefore, there will be a lot of loss because of resistance element there. But if there is no conduction, then the free space, the electromagnetic wave can travel very fast. Alright, but electromagnetic waves can stay on the surface of the conductor. So when it hits, that means the conductor can be used as a guide. So conductors are otherwise known as waveguides also. But into the conductor, the waveform cannot penetrate. So these are the Maxwell's law. So you have been taught differential geometry, I am sure. If you have any difficulty, you can tell me. So there are two equivalents here. One is the equivalent of voltage is your electric field E, and the equivalent of current is H. You can switch off. Hey, Sumit, you can switch off your video. So there is electric field E and H. So in this, if you do a sinusoidal analysis, that means when the waveform is sinusoidal, the time derivative can be replaced by j omega. Okay, if the waveform is sinusoidal. The electric field is sinusoidal, high frequency, magnetic field is sinusoidal. So if you do a sinusoidal analysis, so what will happen? These derivatives can be replaced by the j omegas. So if you do that, you will find E by H bears a ratio like this: j omega mu plus sigma plus j omega mu. J omega mu or epsilon will be there somewhere. Check it out. So this is the characteristic impedance of the medium, and whenever the electromagnetic waves that go to the another medium, if there are having two different characteristic impedances, then this is known as a reflection coefficient. If both are same, then there is no reflection. Otherwise, there will be reflection, and the transmission coefficient is 1 plus gamma. So just like here, you can see from here there is a very high frequency voltage which is going. So if there is a medium, there are different mediums here. So this will reflect. There is a possibility that it will reflect back. It will reflect back. So this node may be having higher voltage than desired. So this reflection will be there if there is a mismatch in the characteristic impedance. So when you have a cable, generally you don't join cables. Ethernet cables, can you just join? You cannot. Because joint will have a characteristic impedance which will be different. So any signal transmission cable should not be joined. There should be continuous cable. Otherwise, there will be change of medium and there will be lot of disturbances. USB cable join करके transmission करो, मुश्किल हो जाएगा. You will get it, but you cannot achieve the proper data rate because there will be reflection, high frequency reflection. Any questions here? Suppose series RLC circuit, can you analyze in terms of this electromagnetic waves, Swarnim Raj? Hey, Swarnim Raj.
Hello. Yes, sir.
Suppose there is a RLC circuit experiment. You are doing the step rest. You are doing square waves. So can you analyze this with respect to this or that is not actually electromagnetic wave?
Sir, yes, so like at every junction of RL and LC, we can see what is the reflection and transmission coefficient, and then we can find out the potential drop against each.
Now this RLC circuit which we do is an approximation of the distributed parameter model. So we are not considering like waves because the frequency is so small and the circuit size is so small. The wavelength is so large that it will not take any time to propagate. So there the space coordinates are not taken. There only the time coordinates are taken. The space is assumed to be fixed because if you look at the electromagnetic waves, they travel at the speed of light. C. So if you look at the frequency 50 Hz, you know that C by lambda is equal to frequency. You can find lambda is very large. So for a small circuit, you can consider that X, Y, Z coordinates are fixed. Therefore, you only bother about the time waveform. But if you increase the frequency and the circuit size is, let's say 1 meter, your frequency is, let's say 1 gigahertz. What is the wavelength? The velocity of electromagnetic wave, you will see what is velocity of electromagnetic wave. It will be about speed of light. So what is the wavelength for 1 gigahertz frequency? C by lambda, 10 to the power 9 by 10. So it is quite small. When it is small, if the circuit size is about 1 meter, that means at one point of time, the voltages will be distributed. So there you cannot treat them as lumped parameter models. There you have to do it as a distributed parameter model, because the wavelength and the circuit size are comparable because of the high frequency. Therefore, in high frequency circuits, you cannot do by lumped parameter approach. You have to go for a wavelength, wave theory. Okay. So like this in your board design, where the microcontroller is working in few gigahertz or megahertz. So when the microcontroller is working in few megahertz, when you connect one device to the another device, you have to take proper care. Otherwise, there will be reflection, there will be disturbances, and signal to noise ratio problem will be there. Right? So, if you look at this, so first is inter-system EMI. Intra-system, sorry, not intra-system EMI, within the system. Inter-system, I missed it, inter-system. So this is your equipment. So this is susceptible to radiation. So there is a definition of susceptibility. Then it will radiate through this antenna. This is a conductor which is touching it. So any high frequency hitting here. So whenever high frequency waveforms hit a conductor, so it will immediately induce high frequency here. So that means if there is anything inside, the high frequency can be on the conductor, and whenever the conductor is there, it will guide it out. Similarly, it will have, if there is a metallic surface, the high frequency current will flow on this metallic surface. It will act like an antenna, because the moment the area is more, there will be more radiation. So similarly, power line, that means using in the power line, it can receive and it can also emit emissions. So inside this is known as intra-system. If it is go out, it is known as inter-system. So now let's look at some of the examples. So the coupling paths first. What are the coupling paths? A coupling path which is a differential coupling path. There is a differential which is not a common mode coupling path. So these are two differential coupling paths, and these are two common mode coupling paths. So if there is the source here, and if there is a differential coupling path, if there is source here and there is the induction is plus here and minus here, there will be differential coupling path. But if they are same here, there will be no differential coupling path. So similarly, this is a common mode coupling path. That means there will be a third wire through which you will get the common mode, because the current is going this way, both will come back here. In this case, the current will go like this and come back like this. So this is the coupling path here, and this is the coupling path here. So this is conducted. Similarly, the radiation EMI is, so that means this is if there is a magnetic field here and there is a cable here, so the radiation can encompass here, and because of this magnetic field, it will have voltages or current which will be induced here. This is field to cable. There could be cable to cable. If there are two cables which are laid side by side, there could be magnetic coupling or there will be electric coupling. This is by capacitive effect, this is by mutual induction. So this is capacitive effect. This is mutual induction. So if you look at a particular circuit like this This is an analog circuit. This is a hybrid circuit. Both analog switching is there. That means there is switching. 555 is a timer which there will be switching. So whenever there is switching here, so this current will be in spikes like this. And because of spikes, there will be spike drops here. So there will be disturbance of the ground here. Because of disturbance, this waveform will get corrupted. Is that clear? Is it clear? Krishna Pasala?
Sir,
Can you explain it in terms of digital circuit and these analog circuits? Explain this coupling. Common impedance mode coupling.
when there is rise in signal, capacitance need to be charged in this.
Suppose this is your microcontroller or digital hardware. This is digital. Okay. And this is your analog. So how this digital is going to affect the analog? This is, let's say, some kind of amplifier, speech amplifier or something like that. So how this will affect this? What is your idea? Why this digital will affect the analog?
During switching, it needs high current to charge its capacitances of transistors.
Spike current. So this spike, because of this extra spike current, there will be drops here. Because of drops, this analog ground will become oscillatory. So therefore, this ground and this ground should be made separately. That means there should be an analog ground, there will be digital ground, AG and DG. And the power supply will be here, plus VCC. So this is analog, so you put a big capacitor here and also big capacitor here, so that it doesn't get disturbed. So whenever there is a spike current demand, so this capacitor will supply. So that it will not disturb the analog now. So these are called coupling capacitors, decoupling capacitors, you can say. Alright. So there's a lots of noise sources are there, as you can see. So for example, power cord, the data cable, these are the way where you can get the EMI transmitted. Okay. The noise source could be any digital hardware, it could be high frequency circuits, etc. And this, so this, if there is a metallic body, it comes and hits here, it becomes an antenna, and anything touching to the antenna will be accepting those noise. So this, so this leads to what is known as crosstalk in cables. Let me just So let's look at the components, component level. Let the component is a diode. This is a diode. You can see it. Let me enlarge a little bit. So this is the component. So whenever there is a, this whenever the diode, if you supply it with a sinusoidal, so it will conduct in the forward direction, but in the reverse direction there will be what is known as reverse recovery. In the reverse recovery region, when the diode becomes reverse biased, the whole charge Q is swept across the diode, and that gives a negative spike current. And this is very high frequency because this spike. So this is a source of EMI. A switch is also a source of EMI. How the switch will be a source of EMI? Vaibhav Vishal, how a switch, normal switch is a source of EMI?
Hello.
When you switch on something, a fan or light or whatever, or air conditioner, it generates EMI, electromagnetic interference. Why?
Hello.
Yes. वैभव, तुम्हारा वीडियो दिखाओ. Whenever you operate a switch, it generates electromagnetic interference. Why? Vaibhav Vishal. Hello, Vaibhav Vishal. Vaibhav Vishal, are you there? Hello. Vaibhav Vishal, are you there? I think he is not there. You should log him out. उसको एक क्रॉस लगाओ, वैभव विशाल. Okay. Lekhraj Pariyar, please tell me, whenever you operate a switch, there is a possibility of electromagnetic interference. And the question is why it will be so.
So means like in every switching we have to charge or discharge capacitor.
No, there is no capacitor in light or maybe fan. Maybe capacitor is one, but what happens basically? Capacitor charge करने से EMI क्यों हो? RLC सर्किट में अगर तुम सप्लाई दोगे तो EMI होता रहेगा. तो most of the capacitors already. So when you switch on, there will be instant EMI, electromagnetic interference. It might disturb others. What is the reason?
Sir, is it due to switch bounce? Means when we are switching, it's not means.
Simple thing is this is your switch. Okay. So before switching, this is the voltage across the switch, and there is a current through the switch. If you plot them, okay, you plot that. So before, suppose this is the time of switching. So before switching voltage कितना था? वोल्टेज ज्यादा था कि कम था? वोल्टेज ज्यादा था. आफ्टर स्विचिंग वोल्टेज जीरो हो गया. वोल्टेज अक्रॉस द स्विच. बिफोर स्विचिंग द करंट वाज वेरी स्मॉल. आफ्टर स्विचिंग करंट राइजेस. सो वोल्टेज ड्रॉप्स एंड करंट राइजेस. If the current is rising and voltage is dropping like this. So this portion, there is a change in electric field and change in magnetic field, because magnetic field is suddenly changing. Electric, so here itself there is a high frequency electric field and magnetic field change. This will create a wave which will be transmitted from here onwards. So whenever you are switching, there will be electromagnetic waves. This is the same reason. In a digital circuit, whenever there is switching, there is electromagnetic wave. The electric field collapses, the magnetic field builds up, which is like a spike current or whatever you can say. So that is the reason why it happens in switch, and here this is switching every time. So during switching, this also generates lots of electromagnetic waves. Now let us consider another circuit. So if you look at this digital circuit, look at this circuit. In this circuit, this is a digital hardware. It is basically a NAND gate, and it has a capacitor load. Load means because it is feeding to next level. So whenever it is high, it is charging a capacitor. And the power supply noise, to eliminate power supply noise, you have two capacitors. There are 0.1 microfarad and 1 by. Why there are two capacitors? Any idea? Moinak Ghosh.
One is for the sending end and other is for the other side of the switch. Both can be represented by separate lines that are wires.
जगह में लगा है, ये सेम नोड है, कोई सेंडिंग रिसीविंग नहीं है. ये पावर सप्लाई के अक्रॉस और ग्राउंड में लगा है दो कैपेसिटर. एक छोटा कैपेसिटर 0.1 माइक्रोफैराड का है, एक बड़ा कैपेसिटर. क्यों दो लगा, क्यों है?
Sir, because there are two paths to ground. One is
find out. Okay, this is because there are two different types of capacitor. One is a disk capacitor which will absorb quick transient, another is a little different capacitors. You find out about capacitors. All the students of this class today, your homework is to find out the different varieties of capacitors, ceramic capacitors, whatever capacitors are there on your motherboard, desktop, capacitors, power capacitors, filter capacitors, you find out. Okay, there are certain capacitors which cannot take instant current. So this is, but they are small in size. So there are definitely a parallel. So whenever there is a spike demand, it will share this with the load, but eventually it will share the load. But this is a different type of capacitor. This is another type of capacitor. So whenever the spike is there, this will be sharing the load because there is very little inductance. When you make a capacitor, you make basically a lot of discs. So there is a stray inductance. So this stray inductance associated with this such of capacitors is very less. The stray inductance associated with such capacitors will be less. So your homework is to know more about the capacitors. Anyhow, so whenever there is a spike current demand, there will be drop here. The current flow. Because of the drop, this VCC will be disturbed. Though it was 5 volt, this VCC will not be 5 volt. It will reduce. Once it is reduced, this may malfunction. This may malfunction. So let's see what is the malfunctioning here. If you look at the different kinds of loads, CL, and see the malfunctioning, you can see here. This is no capacitor. That means no load capacitor. There is no load capacitor here. There is this one having no capacitive load. This CL is very small or not there. Not there. So if it is not there, this is your VCC. You can, is it visible to you? Let me expand it a little bit. This is ICC, which is oscillating as you can see, and this is the supply V in. V in is the voltage here. This is the V in. This is V in here. This is V in. Okay. When it is high, this should be high. This should be low, right? So, but whenever the V in is coming in, what is happening, you can see with different values of capacitors. So you can see V in is high, the VCC gets disturbed, very much disturbed. So whenever there is a change, there is current demand and VCC gets disturbed. So the disturbance is so much that it might affect the functioning of that circuit. But if you keep on changing the capacitor, maybe 100 picofarads, you can see the disturbance is changing here. Okay. So what should be the output voltage basically? When both are high, output voltage should be low. This is NAND gate now. So because of this, so it will be clamped to VCC. The output voltage will be clamped to VCC or ground, but VCC is getting disturbed as you can see here for 100 picofarad. For 50 picofarad, you can see this. So for different values of capacitance, capacitive loads, just a minute, I'm having some trouble here. For 15 picofarad, so different value of capacitive loads, the disturbance on the VCC is different, as you can see. Okay. So therefore, this loading or fan out is one important criteria for deciding EMI. So how to reduce this oscillation? Any idea? Nitish Kannan, ये जो oscillation हो रही है, how to reduce this oscillation?
So by using coupling capacitors.
कपलिंग कैपेसिटर, जो भी मन में आया बोल दिया क्यों? अरे आईआईटी का स्टूडेंट थोड़ा सोच के बोलने से अच्छा नहीं होता? Whatever you are thinking, you are just telling. In this case, what to do in this circuit? Tell me an intelligent thing, an intelligent which is not done, which is not possible to do. But if you do here, then all the oscillations here will be reduced.
Sir, connecting a diode.
Diode, ना diode में से कैसे हो?
So connecting an inductor.
Inductor से बड़ा भी हो सकता है. You have to damp it out. So connecting a proper impedance matching, that is R. You terminate it by R, some R here or here. If you do that, the spike current will reduce. Sometimes you can put a across this VCC here and here. You can put a from here. You put one RC combination, proper RC combination to ground. So this will reduce. This is like filtering. The current will get filtered. Okay. So this is how done, but you cannot put resistances. Why can't you put resistance in VLSI circuits? Visala Srikant, why can't you put the resistances in VLSI circuit?
Power loss will be more due to more.
Power loss तो ऐसे ही हो रहा है. Power loss होने से क्या problem? All or where? A home. आइनॉक्स में बैठ के क्लास कर रहा है. ठीक है. सोहिनी. Sohini, can you tell me?
Hello.
Yes.
Sir, resistors are very large components.
Yes. Excellent. Sohini को excellent दे दो एक star. Resistor occupy more chip area. That is number one. And number two, if there is heat, where it will dissipate. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Okay. So going forward here. Can see here. So here if you do, you will have different kinds of so if you really look at the V in and V out in this particular case. Okay, in this particular case, if you look at V in, VCC is connected to V, so V out, even if there is a glitch here, there will be small glitch in the output. So you can avoid glitches actually by putting proper capacitor. So that's the whole idea. So there are different ways, different logic levels, TTL, NC much, SC, SCT. So depending upon the logic levels, you have to decide what kind of noise you can tolerate. So now let's discuss about crosstalk. Okay, so before that, just recapitulate what you just did. So we did intra-system, within the system interference. So within the system interferences are caused by components and the couplings. So like digital components, they affect the analog components because digital circuits are switching circuits. Whenever there is a switching, there is a spike current which is drawn. And because of spike current, there will be drop. And because of drop, the analog circuit may be disturbed. Similarly, we have got diodes, which are also switching devices. We have got logic gates, they are switching devices. So how to manage those? You can adjust the impedance. Also, you can decide the path of the current. If the path is bigger, then there will be more drop. If the path is smaller, there will be less drop. So therefore, you have to reduce the IC technology, the length of the technology in terms of microns and nanometer technology. If it is too small, then the path is small and the drop will be small. Now let's go to the next, which is known as signal crosstalk. That means there are two signals, two lines, and which are actually side by side. There is a, let's say there is a driving line and there is a sensing line. Sensing line means it is another line. This is the line which is the victim, and this is the line which is the culprit. So if you put a signal like this, just a step, okay. So you guys do one homework. Pooja, you can put an homework for them. They will use Simulink to simulate two wires, okay, having a common ground, three wires basically. This is, let's say, receive. This is one wire, second wire, and this is the ground wire. So this is connected to ground at both the ends. So here you put a square wave and you see what is the effect on this, find out, measure it. This is a sensing wire which is terminated by two resistances. This is the culprit wire where we are sending the wave from. When we are sending, so there will be crosstalk. Crosstalk means there will be induction here also. So while it is getting inducing, it is also traveling. That means this pulse is traveling here. So while it is traveling, at the other end there will be also a crosstalk. So this will called near end crosstalk, and this is known as far end crosstalk. That means whenever you send a signal here, in the near end there will be a signal which will rise because there is a change in the electric field. Which change in electric field gives rise to a current here, because this is a capacitor. There is a coupling here, and it will also induce a voltage. Because of that, there will be a current induced. A pulse current will be there, and this pulse current will flow definitely. So at the other end, it will flow here. So at the same time, it has already traveled here. Again, there will be a pulse current here. So there will be a sort of standing wave here. That means you are sending signals like this here. So there will be a standing wave here. That means this will be at a particular voltage and oscillating. So this happens because there is a near end crosstalk. The moment you switch on this, there will be a near end crosstalk. Then it travels because there is a finite traveling time. By the time it appears at the other end, there is also a crosstalk. So then there is so there will be crosstalks. There will be crosstalks all. So there is a current here. So what will happen? So there is a wave here and it will come back here. So eventually they will interact with each other. One wave traveling, one is traveling forth and traveling back. So together they will create something called as standing wave. So this is possible because of, this is happening because of the proximity of these two wires, and most of the times it is because of capacitance and inductance both. So if there is a current flowing, it will induce voltage here because this will induce flux here. So there will be because of flux, it will induce voltage here. And if there is a electric field, it will try to, if there is a electric field, because this is a ground, this is a ground, so there is a electric field here. So it will also make some current to flow. So now the question to the class is how this is a very simple thing. How to analyze this complicated electromagnetic phenomena. So if you want to analyze this, then you have to go back to Maxwell's equations. So this is once again I print because this has become, let me erase it. So if you look at E, so this tells you this expression itself, you can write like this. So each E of x is a quantity which is a function of x, y, g and t. Similarly, each of them is a function of x, y, g, t. So this is a very complicated equation. It's a vector differential equation. Each of the elements is a function of x, y, g, and this is derivative with respect to x, y and z, g square. And this is also derivative with respect to e. So this is basically a differential equation consisting of Ex, Ey, Ez. These are the functions or the magnitudes which are dependent upon x, y, g and t. So suppose I am designing, let's say, let me switch on the video. I have video. So I am designing a circuit like this. Okay. In this circuit, suppose there are lots of components. I have a high frequency components right here. I want to know what is in the proximity, what is the electromagnetic interference. This current, let's say I have an impulse of current. If there is an impulse of current, and how the electric field and magnetic field is distributed around this, how to know? Any idea? Let me ask this question to some people. Ritik Sinha bolo. Ritik Sinha.
Yes, sir.
Suppose I have a source here which is impulse current, let's say, and I have known the material here. All the material, conductor or not conductor, it is known. So how to actually find out the effect of this impulse current? What is the magnetic field and electric field in this material? What is the way to find? This is the differential equation, as you can see. What is the way to find?
So your voice is breaking. My internet is a bit slow.
कहाँ पे हो? घर में हो?
Yes, sir.
ना नॉइज क्यों आ रहा है घर में? ठीक है. You don't have to answer. Okay. Shrutis Paramata. Shrutis.
Yes, sir.
Can you answer this? You want to answer my question? What is my question?
Sir, your voice is not audible.
What was my question? That is the question. What was my question? What did I ask? इसको थोड़ा ये करो, क्रॉस करो पूजा. Just cross this Shrutis Paramata guy. He's not attentive and not asking the questions. Yogesh Kumar Yadav, what was my question? What was my question?
Suppose I have device and there is some source and some
Yes.
device, some components are connected. Then how?
So how to do it? Suppose this is my device. I have one element here where there is a spike of current in that circuit, in the loop. So I want to compute the electromagnetic signature on this device, other places, like the voltage, electric field and magnetic field. How to do it? Can you do it analytically? Analytically, it is not possible. So next time you answer this question, okay? So we are almost done in the class. Pooja, are you there? Pooja or Patita Baban?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Please take the attendance and get them. Most of them are
Yes.
not.
Yes, sir. I have taken the attendance.
Any questions here? So I am going to upload these slides into this box now. Electromagnetic difference, EMI, EMC. So we'll continue next class too. Okay. So in the meantime, there is one assignment which will be opened now. Pooja, please open that assignment for everybody. Yesterday's assignment.
Okay, sir. I will open.
All of you try and make it the deadline this weekend.
Okay,
This is
sir.
a simple assignment. Okay. You can do it. Okay. Saturday midnight you can do, and after that don't allow any submissions. That was given on the Monday. We have few people who have submitted that already, so others can also submit. Okay, we did not teach, but that assignment was done in the class. People did it. Okay. Any other questions?